Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's free webinar, which will look at the concept of relationship marketing with our guest speaker, Zach Taylor from Ambassador. I'm Teneille Dawe, the Senior Marketing Specialist here at GoToWebinar, and I'll be moderating today's session. And as I mentioned before, we're talking about relationship marketing. And with customer experiences and relationships continuing to come front of mind when we're considering business objectives and strategies, how can we take this one step further and actually look at how to build customers as advocates of what we do and why we do it? And this is important when you consider that referral leads convert at a 2 to 3 times higher rate and actually close 2 to 3 times faster. And they actually spend on average 20% more than what we might do through, paid leads through content syndication and the like. So, plus customers acquired by referrals are more likely to refer someone else. So generating an even higher percentage of your best leads. So it just seems to make sense. And now every company has clients who are willing to advocate for their products and services. And as you'll kind of learn more from Zach today, it's only actually 80% of them actually want to do it. And 30% actually don't. So how do we activate these big fans to spread positive word of mouth and ultimately more of our best type of customers? So it's great to see so many people joining us today. It looks like a few more people are just jumping on. So I'll quickly run through some webinar housekeeping so you know how to interact with us today. Now, because this is a public webinar, you've entered in listen only mode, but that of course doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. So we're really keen for all of you to interact as much as possible with us today, just to maximize what you get out of the session. So feel free to send through your questions as you think of them. You can do this by using the questions pane in your control panel, which I will manage as they come in. But we will also have time during the session for some Q&A so we can get across as many answers as possible. So let's just check and see that everyone can access their questions pane okay. Why don't you all let us know where you're joining from and give us a shout out and say hi. So whilst everyone's just filling that out, you can, sorry, Zach?
I'm reading off Sydney,
Denver,
Colorado.
Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, Essendon. Hi, Mike. Invercargill. I hope I'm saying that right, Pam. Apologies if I'm not. Cronulla. Robin from Singapore. Hi, Robin. How you going? Tweed Heads. Tokyo. Wow, we've got a really good mix of people from across the APAC region, so that's fantastic. Hi, Maria from Melbourne. So you can listen in, of course, via headphones, as some of you are probably already aware, but if you do experience any issues with your internet connection or computer audio, you can simply switch to telephone and the toll-free number, access code and PIN will appear. And if you experience any other technical problems, do just let me know by posting your issue in the questions pane, and I'll come to your assistance as soon as I can. You're welcome to take notes during the webinar, but we will also provide you with a link to the recording shortly after the webinar concludes. So with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's kick off today's webinar. The speaker joining me today, as you can see, is Zach Taylor. Zach has 10+ years in sales and business development experience, and he's come from Ambassador Software, which is one of the world's leading relationship marketing software companies. But I won't talk too much about Zach as he's right here and he can actually introduce himself.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Teneille. It's great to work with you, great to work with GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting, and excited to talk to everybody about relationship marketing and some of the things that we've been seeing around the world with our clients and some of the best ways to engage your existing customers to generate quality leads at quantity. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But just to introduce myself and my company a little bit further, we are a relationship marketing software company. So really what that means is we support all of the different marketing initiatives that you see on your screen here. So everything from influencer marketing to referral marketing, B2B partner programs, as well as advocacy programs and even more traditional affiliate marketing initiatives. Today's call, we're going to talk most about referral marketing. We do this for brands all over the world, large B2B brands from SAP to Hulu to fashion brands, and really excited to share some best practices and some of the things that we see that work really, really well for companies all over the world. So I think when we talk about relationship marketing and we talk about lean marketing and we talk about ways, the best possible ways to grow your business, to generate more of your quality leads, traditionally there has been the thinking that quantity is in direct adverse with quality, and I am happy to tell you that that's not true anymore. So in the world that we live in today, software really allows us to have both quality and quantity, and I think that's really, really valuable. And in fact, GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar, the service that we're using today, this webinar is a perfect example of our ability to deliver amazing experiences and amazing content, really quality content at quantity. And I think the interesting thing and the most amazing thing about GoToMeeting and the ability to talk with hundreds of you from all over the world all at the same time, which is fantastic, but this webinar will be seen not just by the hundreds of people that are on the call today, but also the thousands of people that view it from here on out. This is a great piece of evergreen content. So GoToMeeting is a great example of a software solution that allows us to generate quality and quantity simultaneously. And so that's really what we're going to talk about and how we're able to do that with relationship marketing. And more specifically, you're leveraging your existing relationships with your customers to generate more of your best leads. As Teneille mentioned, those leads that are closing 2 to 3x higher, 2 to 3x faster, more of your best leads, more of your best customers faster. So a couple of quick stats. And so if my picture wasn't enough, and if Teneille's introduction of me and my explanation of Ambassador wasn't enough, these stats are really the reason that you should be paying attention and should get you excited. So we've conducted studies with Nielsen and have been able to pull stats from all over the world. And the story that they tell is that your customers, your clients, are willing to refer their friends and family and their colleagues and everyone else. And in fact, 82% of people say they seek recommendations from friends. And 88% of people say that they would like some sort of incentive for sharing and promoting. And this is great for the short term, but in the long term, on top of the benefit of your customers being willing to share and promote your brand and your product and your services, what's pretty amazing is that the lifetime value of those referred customers is on average 16% higher than anything that you can generate through paid marketing or paid advertising spend. And I know, Teneille, we've talked for what, since Q3 of last year now. I don't know how, were you aware of some of these stats and some of these numbers?
No, I have to say, when you first showed me this, I guess, why aren't we doing more of this? That's what I was thinking, you know. And I think but at the same time, I sat there and I said to myself, well, why am I surprised by that? Like, I shouldn't be. But it just seems like something we naturally miss out on as marketers. We maybe don't tap into it as much. I'm speaking from my own experience. There's probably very good marketers on the line today, but that would be my point of view.
No, and you actually hit the nail on the head there. The reality is that when our company and when I talk to clients and marketers all over the world, every single one of them intrinsically knows the value of word of mouth, right? It's the oldest form of advertising. It's the oldest form of marketing. But the challenge has been, how do you do it at scale? how do you generate quality referrals, quality leads, quality net new customers at scale? And that's the question that why I'm here to kind of help talk you through this and help actually implement some of these strategies. So today we're going to talk tactically about how you do this. How do you execute quality referral, quality word of mouth programs at scale, quality and quantity? And so we've got this giant question mark here, who, what, where, when, how. It's not overly complex as far as where you should get started. The answer is right in front, right on the screen. The answer is you just ask. And I think this is where most people fail. The stat I mentioned earlier, 82% of people are willing to refer. So why aren't they? It's because most marketers, most brands, most companies, they're not asking the question. And it really starts the engagement of your existing customers and those fans and the people that those 82% of your clients that are willing to share and promote your brand and your products and services. It really starts with just asking them. So I don't know how many of you, I'd love to hear, this would be an interesting poll question, Teneille. I'd love to hear how many of you currently, how many of your brands have a web page like this, a subdomain on your site that looks like this, where you're just asking. Hey, very clean, clear, simple, not complex. How does this work? Refer and earn. Okay, refer your friends, refer your colleagues. So it's a very, very simple process, very transparent, and that's a key rule to keep in mind here. Don't make this complex, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That's the rule everybody should live by, right? Keep it simple, stupid, and you'll see your engagement go up. So simply just ask people. That's a great place to start. And you have to ask them in a very simple way and then make it incredibly easy for them to share and promote your company. And the kicker is the old school way of asking for referrals is what? I think, Teneille, we talked about this as well. The old school way of doing this was, hey, I'm going to ask a client if they know of anybody, right? And that old school mentality of that one-to-one kind of referral, while high quality, is a bit challenging and can sometimes feel a little bit intrusive from your clients to give you the name and information of somebody that you should reach out to. And so what true referral, what quality referral marketing and word of mouth marketing at scale looks like is empowering your customers and that empowering that relationship for them to be able to very simply and easily talk about you online, send an email, right? Post something to Facebook or social media, and then allow their network to discover your brand and be redirected back to your site to generate inbound referral traffic. And this is another great example of engaging where your customers are, having something on your website, being present in your email marketing, making the concept of asking evergreen and ever present throughout your marketing experience. This is another great example of a B2B company that we've worked with. Something very simple and easy, right on their web page. Give your customers the ability to very easily send an email to some folks in their network, some people that they think could benefit from your products and services too, or post something to Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. So engaging them where they already are. Sometimes that might mean inside of a logged in account. If any of you have clients that log in to your web application or your product or your service or some sort of portal that you offer them, and they operate in there on a daily basis, why not give them the ability to share your products and services from right inside of that logged in experience where they're logging into and living every day and working every day. So the first component here is really about engaging these customers. And the sub bullet point underneath that is about making it extremely simple, not complex, not intrusive. Hey, I can earn $100 if I refer this business to my colleague Joe. I'm pretty sure Joe needs this. I'm going to go ahead and send him an email. And if you notice, one of the key ways that we're doing all of this is through these unique share links, right? And these unique share links are ultimately what gets posted and what gets sent to the referrals. So this is another example of an email where we're engaging our customers and reminding them about the program. So quality content at scale, right? Letting them know that letting your customers know that this is an opportunity for them to be a great brand ambassador for you. So some really great examples here. And again, if you guys have any questions about any of this content or these examples that we're showing right now, please go ahead and throw them in the chat, in the question box, and we'll answer them here shortly. So as you're engaging with your existing customers, right, and you're doing this through a web page, through email, quality content that's able to be seen by hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of your customers, doing that at scale, inevitably what we're leading to is even greater scale, right? So achieving impressions that typically you would have to pay for, and I know we've all read about the recent kind of changes to the Facebook news feed. So this really is additionally a great way to generate organic impressions on social media. So whether these brand ambassadors, these customers of yours that want to promote your brand and are happy to do it, because remember, we've made it very, very simple and easy for them to kind of understand that they're going to get a reward in exchange for doing so. Don't forget, 88% of people want an incentive for referring your brand and generating those quality leads at scale for you. We're talking about another level of scale when your customers are posting and promoting your brand on social media. Because now, instead of them giving you the name of one person that they think might be a fit, now all 800 of their contacts on LinkedIn or their connections on LinkedIn are going to be able to see a nice message about your brand. And all they had to do was click a button, right? Or something posted to Facebook, right? So now we're talking about scale, quality scale, about engaging these customers to a next level of scale where you're actually reaching all of your customers' connections and networks, online, email, however it is, however they choose to share, giving them those options, making it very simple, one-click sharing. So these are some examples of some customers that are doing it, or some clients that we have that are doing it very well. So this is quality at scale. And what's happening is, as your customers' networks are discovering your brand through your customers, guess what? This is the most powerful form of advertising that you can do, right? These are their friends, colleagues, trusted networks, associates, and these posts are getting a much higher click-through rate than anything you're getting on paid, from a paid standpoint. And again, they're driving these quality leads. So as people are now discovering your brand and your products and your services through one of their connections, and they're clicking on those posts are, guess where they're headed to? They're redirecting back to your website. And as those leads, those quality leads, are now coming to your website, converting on some web to lead form or some sort of conversion, you're able to recognize those referral leads in a CRM of your choosing. And now your sales team, if you have a sales team, is able to reach out to that lead and say, hey, Jordan, I see you were referred by Joe. And this is extremely powerful because, again, you've already established a relationship with a prospect via one of your existing customers, and it wasn't complicated for your existing customer. All your existing customer had to do was click a button. All your existing customer had to do is say, I like this product, I like this brand, I like this company, I like the service. I'm willing to post on Facebook, and I'm more than willing to do it because if I get a referral, if I generate a new customer for this company that I like and I appreciate, I'll also be rewarded somehow, right? So this second piece that we're showing here with this GIF that's going through is the tracking and attribution. And that's the second key part to all of this. The worst thing you can do is engage your customers, tell them you're going to reward them for referrals, have them promote your brand, generate referrals, and then fail to do the tracking and attribution properly. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to go to some questions that you guys have. And Teneille, I don't know if you have a few that you have off top of mind that are most relevant, but let's jump into some of these questions before we kind of go a little bit further in this experience.
Yeah, sure. We've had a couple of questions come through, but I might kick it off with Penny's first point. So interestingly, she was saying 88% wanting an incentive. She's saying that they haven't had that experience. It's actually well below that. In fact, 99% of her clients have stated that they wouldn't like or expect an incentive because they just see referring as a professional courtesy. So I guess my question, I guess Penny's question to some extent is, where do you kind of find that fit, that natural fit, without it feeling too forced or too salesy? Because you might run the risk of almost alienating your customers because they think, well, that's just not for me. And I'm almost put off by the fact that you want to incentivize me when I just naturally think that you're a great person anyway, or great company rather, I should say.
Penny, please email me after this. I think I want to come work for your company. So I think that two things. One, I think there is a slight chance that some of your clients may be a little bit bashful in sharing that information with you. However, that it's certainly not unheard of. And now, if you don't need to, or you believe that your clients would feel as though it's not the right thing to do, or would be somehow somewhat of a turnoff, what I would strongly encourage is something that we refer to as surprise and delight. So I think the tracking of these referrals and the recognition of those referrals doesn't need to be monetary, right? It doesn't even need to be a bill credit or something to that effect, right? It can be something non-monetary. It can be something a little more ad hoc or a little more custom, right? And so that really is up to you. But I think that keeping that idea in your mind of surprise and delight is most important, because I can promise you that if you are surprising and delighting those clients who are willing to give you referrals and drive quality leads for you, they're going to be willing to do it again and again and again and again if you continuously surprise and delight them as a reward for those referrals.
Great. And just on that note, Christine's also asked that she'd be interested in hearing what sort of rewards or gifts people use to reward customers. So have you got kind of any insight there on what sort of works maybe across different companies or industries?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. So it really does depend on who your customers are, who your clients are, right? So I think the first thing to think about is the person that's giving you the referral, are they a user of your product or service, or are they the buyer, or are they both, right? Lots of companies, for economical reasons, want to do account credits. It's relatively cheap to do account credits, depending on your product or service. However, if your referrals are coming from users, meaning the people that didn't ultimately make the purchase and don't feel the pain of the spend on a monthly basis or on an annual basis, then I think doing some sort of bill credit doesn't make sense. It also depends on the scale. So we have seen, in order to do this at scale, one of the best things to do, whether your clients are the ultimate buyers and are paying for this service on an annual or monthly basis or a one-off basis, or a user, we've seen tremendous success with electronic gift cards. They are very scalable, and it's a very tangible way that they get to go out and do something for themselves from you, from your brand, from your company. So I think that gift cards are a fantastic solution and a very easy way to scale. I think it was Penny. You can always do something that's a little bit more custom and offline, surprise and delight. If the volume is really low, in order to scale it, we've seen everything from automated, kind of PayPal cash payouts to gift cards, to charitable donations. Penny, that's another option. Is we do have, as a software company ambassador, we have integrations with charitable donations. So that's actually one that I forgot to mention. So charitable donations is an option. So those are a few. Teneille, just to mention, and who was it that asked that question again? I think it was just to touch on that. The one thing that we've seen not perform particularly well is points. So generally speaking, you want to stay away from overcomplicating these initiatives with kind of meaningless points and over gamification. So that's one thing I would say to try and avoid. You generally don't have that much mind share with your clients that you'd want to overcomplicate it with some complex points or gold stars or something like that. The only other thing that I'll mention as a good option is potentially some sort of depending on the products you sell, either a coupon or a discount code or a promo code of some sort. For B2B companies, we've also seen more ad hoc is rewarding with conference passes. If you have an industry-specific event that all of your users, buyers, clients are going to, if they're generating a lot of rewards for you, referrals for you, rewarding them with industry-specific conference passes that they're definitely going to attend, but might cost $100 or a couple $100. That's a really great option.
Yeah, I think they're all really good options. And John made the point of that he actually deals with a lot of government customers. So you fall into that danger of looking like you're trying to bribe them, which I imagine is quite a hard thing to do, John. So I think you need to maybe just be a little bit inventive and consider, I guess, maybe what you can kind of on-sell or on-reward in different ways so that you're sort of making that delightful experience for them, which I imagine is probably quite difficult, John, in government.
Yeah, I think that's that is a unique scenario, and again, we're neither Teneille or I are legal counsel, so I would say if you're in a highly regulated industry, please can connect with your counsel first. But yeah, the other option is, depending on the products you serve, there is the opportunity to do some sort of upgraded product tier that you can provide to them. So that's another option. But I think if you keep the concept of surprise and delight and make it something relevant for your customer, another big component of surprise and delight, and as it relates to these relationships that you're establishing with your customers for generating great word of mouth leads for you, is the concept of time to value. And I'll use a very simple anecdote for this. I always tell our clients, if you sell refrigerators, don't reward somebody for a referral with 20% off their next refrigerator. If somebody's buying something from you only once every couple of years, the concept of time to value is very, very important when it comes to the reward. It needs to be something that they can benefit from in a short period of time. So something else to keep in mind as you're kind of thinking about ways to surprise and delight. The second piece, or I really should say the last piece to all of this, we talked about engaging, we talked about doing the tracking, and then we talked about the rewarding. Is the last piece to all this, to pull it all together, is making sure that your clients have transparency. So some of those emails that I was showing earlier, those are a great example of ways to let them know, deliver rewards, and be transparent about who they've referred or that they've generated a referral. Another great example is actually displaying some of that information in a nice, clean dashboard or inside of a logged in account if your clients have that. So again, in summary, when you think about how do you generate more of your best leads faster, one of the best ways that you can do that is through word of mouth and these referrals. So if you engage them in an evergreen, simple manner, allow them to kind of compound that word of mouth by sharing on their social medias and driving inbound referral leads, and you do a great job of tracking it and doing the attribution, and lastly, rewarding them and making those rewards relevant, and they have a strong time to value ratio. Those things are always important, and making sure that you've got you're delivering transparency around what's going on, either via emails or potentially through some sort of dashboard like this. So these are all really great examples of some of the different clients around the world that we have running word of mouth marketing, brand ambassador type initiatives with us. And of course, as marketers, we need to be able to keep track of all of these things, right? But I did want to, before I get into tracking, one other piece here is I realize that some of you on the call may be listening to this and hearing or saying to yourself, well, we have a very low volume of new customers, right? We're only bringing on maybe a dozen or 2 or 3 new clients a month. So we're doing a low volume, high value. One of the great ways to leverage your relationships and, again, generate quality leads at scale is to do that through more of a strategic partner program. And so this is just one example we have of a client that's doing this, and they're actually enabling partners, other technology providers, other vendors, people with complementary services, consultants, whoever they may be, to register for a program, agree to your terms and conditions, and actually refer their clients that very well now may become shared clients of yours. So I did want to add this in here. I realize it's a bit of a separate component from a customer referral program, but I realize that in the B2B space, oftentimes these strategic partner programs are of particular value. And by the way, can very much be run in parallel with a customer referral program. I think that's really important and a big value to do. So talking about kind of managing all of this, right? So it's one thing to launch these things. It's one thing to have quality content. It's one thing to actually scale it. Generally speaking, you're going to need software to scale. And a big part of a software program that allows you to scale is also the tracking. I think we are marketers as a whole have immense pressure to show performance, to show ROI on all of their new initiatives and spend. And having a solution provider, a vendor, a software company that can give you very crystal clear analytics on just what the heck is going on when it comes to who's engaged in these programs, right? How many people are sharing and spreading the word about your brand? How many conversions are happening, leads, new customers, and even revenue. So all of these things are really important. And just, as we're talking about revenue, one thing to note about the concept of relationship marketing and how ROI plays into that is that relationship marketing it's not a short-term game. Relationship marketing is about building relationships, right? So this isn't about running like a program or a pilot or a test to see how many referrals you can get in 30 days. That is not what this is about. The concept of relationship marketing is about not just generating word of mouth and top of the funnel leads over a short period of time, but about growing the percentage of your customer base that are acquired via word of mouth, because a customer that you acquire via word of mouth is 2 to 3 times more likely to then refer someone else than any of your customers that you currently have that you acquired via paid efforts or traditional old school sales, dialing and prospecting. And I'm going to repeat that stat really quick. Customers of yours that are acquired via word of mouth, via referral, are 2 to 3 times more likely to then refer your business to somebody else. So the concept of relationship marketing, when you think about your customers and referrals, and again, the quality at scale, it's not just about how do we do this over the next 3-6 months. It's about how do we do this over the next 12, 24, and how do we build on that and grow our client base? So as you're thinking about these initiatives, whether they be a partner program or a customer referral program, or even an influencer marketing initiative, I think it's really important to think long-term about what's best for your brand and thinking about quality and quantity. And I think you'll be extremely successful. And I do encourage everybody to explore the different technology providers that are out there that can help you with these different initiatives. And we have one other kind of quick piece of content that I wanted to share, and Teneille and I were talking about this, and I know we've shown a lot of different examples today, but there is one thing that works extremely well, especially in the B2B space, and it is the most overlooked thing in the world, right? I don't know how many emails you all send a day, or how many emails your sales reps or your marketing teams or your customer support teams are sending on a regular basis, or your account managers are sending on a regular basis. At our company, we're talking about thousands, right? So this is a great example of making sure to engage your customers that you're communicating with via email all day, every week. Engage them in these remind them of these referral opportunities in the emails that you're sending. So these are different email signatures. So in the bottom of your email, you can remind people, hey, refer our company, and we'll reward you. So this is one kind of really great quick tip, best practice that we remind everybody. This is done with some really great software. You can do it with software, without software. I highly encourage that practice. I would encourage all of you to go and update your email signatures right now, and help and start generating more quality referral leads at scale. So I know we're wrapping up here. Teneille, if there's some additional questions, would love to hang on the line for a little bit longer and answer any questions that anybody has.
Great. Yes, we have had a few questions come through, and we've actually purposely finished up a little bit earlier today just so we can make sure we get through some good Q&A for all of you. So please do send through any questions that you might have for Zach on relationship and referral marketing. And I guess just to sort of kick it off a bit, I'm interested in this perspective on what referral marketing means from a customer experience point of view. So I guess it'd be interesting to see if you have any insights, Zach, on how setting up referral kind of marketing and relationship kind of marketing programs further enhances the experience that your customers, your current customers, have with you. And I imagine too, from some perspective, in terms of kicking off a program like that and understanding how it's going to further develop that existing customer relationship, internally people might buy into it a bit more. So I was just wondering if you have any insights or stats on that.
That's a fantastic question. I think the interesting thing is we're seeing more and more of the people we're talking to have the title of customer marketing, right? Thinking about how every interaction from discovery to nurture to acquisition and execution and affects the customer. Anecdotally, what we're seeing is a lot of brands shutting down their loyalty programs because they're a little bit too complex and no one's paying much attention to them anymore. And I think these word of mouth marketing initiatives are a tremendous way to increase brand loyalty. And it's as simple as, if I'm going to refer GoToMeeting to my network, and I'm currently using GoToMeeting, and I have other heads of marketing, sales, biz dev, whatever it is, client success, and they start using GoToMeeting, and I know that I've referred them, how likely am I to abandon that company that I've put my name behind? So it actually creates a tremendous amount of brand loyalty. And again, if you execute it well, execute that quantity with really great quality, they'll appreciate the high level of execution. But as they generate those referrals for you, the amount of loyalty and the stickiness factor of those customers just goes through the roof. It's just fantastic. It's a great question, by the way.
And I guess just following on from that, Vanessa's actually made a good point, and I guess it kind of comes back to what we were talking about a little bit before on how referral marketing may impact brands in different ways. So she's actually said, depending on the business, can asking for referrals weaken your brand identity? And I think there's probably two things on that, but it'd be good to get your perspective too, Zach. It's very much knowing your audience and understanding what makes them tick and what would be a delightful experience for them. And I think secondly, it's also your execution. So you're probably not going to go out and say, hey, so you think we're really good, can you please refer us? And hey, we might give you a voucher. You've got to think about the ins and outs of the message that you want to go out with and how that then further resonates what your brand is rather than hinders it. But good, yeah, again, Zach, it'd be good to hear what your perspective is.
Absolutely. I think one thing to consider there is that you have the option to determine whether this is something that you open up to every single one of your customers, or whether it's exclusive to certain customers. And so to Neil's point, yes, execution is everything. Ideas are not very valuable. It's the ability to execute well that determines the validity of really anything. So, but these referral initiatives, generally speaking, are pretty widely available. However, if you're concerned about any sort of tarnishing of brand reputation or anything like that, you do have the opportunity to make this more of a VIP exclusive experience. And when you're hand selecting who it is that is going to be able to refer and become an ambassador and an advocate for your brand. So that's certainly an option. And then just to the point that we talked about earlier, you can control each different piece, how you're going to engage, who you're going to engage, the events that you're going to track and ultimately reward for, right? So maybe it's something beyond just a lead or a new customer. Maybe it's a new customer who submits a case study for you or something to that effect, right? And then lastly, you get to control the reward. So if it's something like a charitable contribution or additional services or tickets to an industry conference that everyone attends, I think those are all great examples of a way to keep the entire messaging on brand and consistent with the experience that you want your customers to have through working with you.
Yeah, and I guess a further tactical kind of question on that same sort of vein is, Jeffrey's actually asked, how do you avoid people feeling like the only reason that you actually referred them was because you actually got something out of it? So to me, it's almost like you're becoming the extension of a dirty salesperson, I should say. It was very sexist of me, but a salesperson of the business, because you're actually getting discounts and rewards from them.
Yeah, great question. And that's certainly not the first time I've heard it, nor will it be the last. I think there are, generally speaking, the way that people share and promote the brand, they have a lot of control over, or you can at least give them control over, right? But as it relates to the reward, one thing that we didn't talk about is the concept of dual incentives. So there are a lot of brands that, for example, if I was going to refer Teneille to another, product or service that I think she would benefit from, I could, by referring her, she could get some sort of discount or reward or premium level service as a result of my referral. So that concept of a dual incentive is extremely popular, and I apologize for not bringing that up earlier when we talk about engage and track and reward. Dual incentives are extremely popular. So in that scenario, when at the point of referral, at the point of the word of mouth promotion, you're saying, hey, this is GoToMeeting is a great product and service. I want you to go check it out. Click here and get your, get X, right? Get the premium solution at the pro level, kind of cost for a month or something, whatever it is. Again, I think that's what's really important when you set these initiatives up, is that it's not a one size fits all kind of plug and play solution. Each individual brand should create a tailored experience that makes sense for your customers, for the products that you sell, for how many times a year that they, or not that they purchase. So that it all needs to be designed at the brand level. You shouldn't just be opting into something that doesn't make sense for you. But great question. Dual incentives, another good idea.
I guess just on the whole customer advocate kind of concept, I think a lot of businesses out there would say data is massive around understanding your customers, and you mentioned about the CRM system and things like that. And your understanding of who is a customer advocate might only be as good as the data that you have on your customers. So in an instance where data is perhaps not as clean as we'd all love it to be, I think most businesses could agree, how do you kind of determine customer advocates, or how do you almost get them to come out of the woodwork and put their hand up and say that they are a customer, they are an advocate of your business and what you're trying to achieve?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question, considering the previous question around creating more of kind of a VIP. So again, every brand and customer is different. One thing that I will say, one thing that I'll caution against, and I've seen a lot of brands make this mistake. The people that are spending the most money with your company do not automatically qualify as your best brand ambassadors. So don't make that mistake. Don't look at the purchase history or the size of their account and say, oh, this company or this person is spending a ton of money with us, they must love us. That's not entirely true. Oftentimes, it's the people that are maybe spending a little bit less money with you, and in their minds, you are an aspirational product or service that they just really want to have. They get, by using their product, they're aligning with your brand level, right? So I think that's one thing I always caution people to do, because it's a natural thing to do, or how long they've been a customer, right? That doesn't always check the box. One thing that we would recommend is running a Net Promoter Score survey. So if you're unfamiliar with that, it's a great tool. It's a simple question: how likely are you to refer XYZ brand to your friends or colleagues? And they answer that on a scale of 1 to 10. So whether your existing customer purchase history data, lead sources, whether that's a complete, muddy mess, you can send an NPS survey to every single person that's ever purchased from you, or every single current customer you have, and get a lot of really great insights right away. And what I would recommend is if they say they're a 10, don't wait to give them the opportunity to refer. Push them directly to a referral experience or the opportunity to engage in some sort of brand advocacy initiative. If they're a detractor, if they're a 3 or a 4, that's somebody that you should push to a survey and say, hey, why did you give us that score? What can we do to do better? And then maybe pick up the phone and have a conversation with them, or have their account manager pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. So one way to do that, very simple, NPS. But the other way to do it is, at a very basic level, is just ask. If you have the opportunity to share and you're promoting it through the proper channels, social, Facebook, email, whatever it is, you're going to know pretty quickly. And if no one's willing to refer you, then I think you've got a lot of bigger projects to work on. But I think most brands will be surprised as to just how many people are willing to help them and promote their brand.
Right. So we're getting close to finishing up. I'll just squeeze in one more question, Zach. Rachel asks, I guess it's around how you go about getting people to act as the referrer. So would you ask them to say a few words about your company in a post, or would you try and have a campaign set up for them to directly share on, say, LinkedIn? And I said to Rachel, it's interesting because that's getting into the influencer marketing element. But at the same time, I think there's a little bit of crossover there. So it'd be good to sort of hear how you think the best way to sort of, I guess, do it. And it probably comes down to ease as well, right? You want to make it easy for them. So how would you recommend that?
Sure, and that's a great question. And Teneille, to your point, I think as these conversations evolve, naturally you start to see some crossover into everything that I showed earlier around the concept of relationship marketing with that that bubble graph image. Is relationship marketing isn't just customer referrals. It isn't just a strategic partner reseller program. It's all of those things: affiliates, influencers, partners, and brand ambassadors, brand advocates, customer referrals. So I think, depending on the type of brand and where you're at in your kind of overall growth trajectory as a company, can help determine, which initiative you should launch first. Naturally, if you're a young company and you don't have a lot of customers yet, it's going to be pretty hard to launch a customer referral program, and therefore influencer programs can be amazing. On the flip side, if you've been in business for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you've got hundreds, thousands, millions of customers, and you don't have a customer referral program and you're looking to launch an influencer program, I would have to ask why. But yeah, I think that the way to ask them is a lot of the things that we showed earlier on in this presentation, which is make it very simple. And as far as whether they're creating the content or whether you're giving them content, as it relates to customer referrals, I would always err on the side of delivering them content. The reason for that is, one, it's easier for them. You want to keep it simple. And the second reason for that is, depending on your products and services, you might want to have a little bit tighter control over how people are promoting your brand and what they're referring to you as, right? So I think generally speaking, with customer referral programs, you want to kind of provide that, what we call share copy, right? The messaging that's being shared. But if you noticed in those kind of refer a friend modules that I was showing earlier, you can allow a customer to alter that if you'd like. So I think, again, it very much depends on the brand, but keep that in mind when you're talking to software companies and you're saying, how do we leverage the voice of the customer in this word of mouth? How do we keep control, but how do we give them flexibility? How do we make it easy, but how do we allow them to go above and beyond? So that's a bit of a loaded answer, but I think it checks all the boxes.
That's great. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're getting close to wrapping up today. So as you can see on your screen, Zach's actually brought up the piece about our exit survey. So this will actually pop up as you leave us today. And if you complete it, you'll not only receive a copy of today's slide deck, but you'll also also get the definitive guide to building a world-class referral program, which Zach has kindly offered up as a free content piece from Ambassador. So we do really value your feedback. Please do let us know what you thought of today's webinar. And of course, even if you have any suggestions for some future topics, please fill out the survey as you leave us today. I'd like to thank today's guest speaker, Zach. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening. I know it's, what time is it there? I'm not even sure what time it is there.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Mountain Standard Time, but that's okay. This was a lot of fun. I really hope that, I appreciate any additional questions you guys have. Keep them coming in, and we'll try and follow up with everyone. But no, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Great. Yeah, so thanks again. Thanks for having us. And if you want to reach out to Zach, as he mentioned, feel free to get in contact or connect with him on LinkedIn, and he's happy to obviously help out with any further questions you might have on the topic. Absolutely. And also thank you to all of you for attending and all your great questions in today's online GoToWebinar. We really appreciate it. So if you're interested in a free trial or finding out more information about what GoToWebinar can do, or even if you'd like to attend some of our other future webinars or see some of the on-demand recordings from other webinars that we've run in the past, you can visit the sites on your screen now. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.